Now let's move on to the Nigerian all-share index. The index up today 0.67%, closing at 36,236. Now that represents a year-to-date performance of 29.1%. Total value traded decreased 5.84% to 3.99 billion, while total volume traded decreased 22% to 338 million units. We saw gains in Nestle, Total, WAPCO, Guinness, losses in the likes of Nigerian breweries, Cadbury. Now joining us to discuss the activity in that market, I have Ayodele Akinwunmi. He's the head of research at FSDH. It's great to have you on the show. I want to start with getting your thoughts on the results of CCNN's Q1 results, which were out. Of course, we saw revenue up 19% and profit after tax up 40%.
Thank you very much for having me this afternoon. Yes, the result was very good from every indicator. And you know, it's a cement manufacturing company that has its own geographical focus in the northwest of Nigeria. And again, the fact that the government policies to support local production of cement and manufacturing of cement in Nigeria has really impacted positively on the cement manufacturers in Nigeria in the last few years. And of course, these companies also have taken advantage of that policies to actually increase capacity. And so that's what we are seeing at the moment. And we expect the same trend to continue in the second quarter, third quarter, and up to the last quarter of the year. And so we expect that the company should do far better this year than the previous year.
Now, still, that stock went down 0.9% today, which some market watchers were, of course, surprised about. So what do you make of the way the stock traded today?
Well, it's just market dynamics. People had taken investment decisions, positioning in that stocks, and so maybe I think it's time for them to just take some little profit, and that's why we say that. And of course, it's in line with general market trend. Yes, the market was up today, but on account of some few stocks, like the likes of Lafarge, WAPCO, the likes of Access Bank, and a couple of other banks, like companies like that. But again, it's just on market sentiment. There is nothing, it doesn't have to do with anything bad with the company. I think the company has very strong fundamentals to record good earnings going forward.
Based on what you've said, though, how do you expect that stock to trade for the rest of the week?
Well, in terms of the stock, like I mentioned, it has good fundamentals. The PE ratio is moderate at the current price, and policies in their favor and in that sector also. So we think that the price may likely appreciate to end the week.
Okay, now, of course, that stock has gone up 78% this year, that's CCNN. So what are your prospects for further gains in that stock this year?
I'm sorry, I didn't get you well.
That stock, CCNN, has actually gone up 78% this year. What would you say the prospects are for further gains in the stock this year?
Well, if you mean in terms of price,
year-to-date gains,
I think it has capacity to record a further 15% appreciation to end this year. And of course, you say that it's a stock that historically declared very good dividend. It declared, I think, 45 kobo last year to shareholders, and this year we expect a higher dividend, which will make the dividend yield to be very attractive for investors to actually come in.
Okay, now let's focus a little on the building materials sector. You mentioned WAPCO gains that we saw yesterday. Today also up 9%. Dangote Cement trading flat. Ashaka Cement down 0.3%. So did you expect the sector to react this way to the result from CCNN?
Yes, like I mentioned earlier, the sector is well positioned to for improved returns and earnings this year. The Lafarge WAPCO that you mentioned lately, last year, they opened up their, I think, one of their factory, which has contributed significantly to their earnings. And of course, sometimes last year, they had to pay down on some of the debt obligation they had because of very improved cash flow generations, which of course came from that opening up of that plant. So this year, we think they are going to do well. It's trading at about close to 19 naira per share now. I think it's going to be a good one. For Dangote Cement also, we have the same trend. Dangote Cement, of course, account for almost half of the market share in Nigeria cement manufacturing industry. And of course, you see what the result they gave for they declared for full year and what they had declared for Q1 also. So one could expect better and improved performance this year, and which will, of course, impact on their earnings. And one of the things that is actually favoring them at the moment is the fact that most of them have invested in, in energy, and to ensure that they produce at very low-cost energy. Some of them are using gas, some of them are using coal, and so it's actually a good strategy for them. And of course, the fact that we have very huge infrastructure deficit in Nigeria, which is creating huge demand for their products, means that they are in the market for a very good show this year.
Now let's talk about UBA Capital, the Q1 numbers out. We saw revenue up and profit after tax up. Give us your thoughts on the company's results.
Well, UBA Capital PLC is a very strong player in investment banking segment of the market in Nigeria, and of course, it's the so it's doing well. It's one of the banks that, investment banking firm that has been listed on the stock exchange. Looking at what is happening in Nigeria at the moment and the couple of deals that they have actually they have signed onto, and their pedigrees, the fact they have strength in that business where they are doing, we think that the future is bright for them. They have very strong prospect. They know what they are doing, and they are expert in what they are doing. We expect very good performance in the next quarter. You'll see that they are making very good income from investment income, very good return from there, and of course, very huge treasury bill rates and fixed income yield that are very good in the market. All these investments are giving them good return. The fact that the market also is coming up, there are a couple of primary deals which they are involved in. All these are actually giving them revenue, which will make their earnings to be strong this year going forward.
And of course, we're going to be speaking to the company's CEO in a few minutes. But before we get to that, I just want to get your view on the April inflation numbers. Of course, those are due anytime now. Of course, also the MPC decision next week. It will be interesting to know your thoughts on the effect that this decision could have on the equity space.
Well, sometimes last week we released our inflation expectation for the month of March, which is due anytime from now. We think the numbers will increase over March number. We released an inflation forecast of 9.1, an increase over 8.6 that was released in the month of March. Next week, Monday and Tuesday, we expect the MPC to meet, the third meeting for the year. We think that the market, particularly the fixed income security market and treasury bill in particular, may likely react to the increase in inflation number, but then we think that it's going to be moderate. If there is going to be a reaction from that in terms of increase in yield, because real return will go down as a result of increase in inflation number, what will happen to the fixed equities market is that there may likely be a portfolio shift from equities market, and at least in the short term, to partake of that huge good return in fixed income securities, which of course will lead to a little sell-off in equities market. But these are going to be just temporary situation that will reverse. Again, on Monday, we think that the MPC will hold decisions, maintain rates at the current levels, but if they increase rate, which of course we think is not very unlikely, equities market may actually suffer for that. If they reduce rates, equities market will benefit from that. But I think they're going to maintain